Hello everyone, Josh here. Hope you are having an incredible day. Now, in today's sort of longer video, I actually want to talk to you about how to deal with overwhelm and uncertainty. So in the world at the moment, there's a lot of crazy stuff going on, and I really feel like at the moment people are feeling overwhelmed, uncertain, unsure of what's happening. And today I want to explore with you in this video how you can start to really bring an awareness to whether you might be feeling unsure, overwhelmed, anxious, those kinds of things, and things that we can start to do together to help you shift out of that state and making sure that you're not making poor decisions. So a lot of time when we're dealing with overwhelm and uncertainty, there's a mild level of let's be honest here, anxiety that comes into your system. So whether we admit it or not, probably most of us are feeling a little bit anxious at the moment, a little bit unsure, a little bit overwhelmed. And that leads to, a buzzing in our nervous system. And that buzzing kind of wears us down over time. There's so much energy invested in being anxious. And there's so much of our thought process when we're thinking about those negative things that make us feel overwhelmed or anxious. And it really leads us to making poor decisions. So I want to, first and foremost, the first teaching concept is that I want to bring your awareness to when you are overwhelmed, when you are anxious, when you are stressed, you actually usually make poor decisions because you don't have access to all the high functioning parts of your brain, because you're often stuck in fear. You're often stuck in what if, looking to the future, worried about what's happening. And don't get me wrong, with what's happening at the moment, really easy to do and really understandable to be concerned or worried about what's happening in a day, 2 weeks, 2 months' time. So a lot of that, though, is creating this anxiety and this overwhelm in your nervous system. So this leads you to making poor decisions because, like I said, we don't have access to the higher parts of our brain. We're stuck in the lower parts of our brain, which makes us more reactive, more emotional. We struggle to access the rational and logical thinking parts of our brain, and we're very reactive. So, you might even be finding yourself at the moment doing things that you wouldn't normally do, saying things that you wouldn't normally say. Being short and snappy with people, with your team or those around you, because unconsciously what's going on is, and this is understandable, there is fear, there's apprehension, there's nervousness, there's overwhelm, and all of that going on in your system is meaning that you are stuck in the lower functioning parts of your brain, the more primal parts of your brain, because you're more focused on survival at the moment. You're more focused on when is the next thing going to happen that's going to mean another change, another thing that I've got to think about, another change by the government, another closure, another outbreak of this pandemic. So you're constantly in fight or flight. That means that when you're constantly in that state, you're not having access to the high parts of your brain to think logically, to think smartly, to think strategically, because you're stuck in those lower functioning parts of your brain. So, and making poor decisions and making bad decisions doesn't help us or serve us either, because then we've got to clean up that mess that we've created. So the first thing I want to talk to you about today is, or we'll bring an awareness to, is if you are stuck in those more primal, more survival states or emotions, is doing the most that you can. And I'm going to go through a few techniques in lower on in the video that can help you get out of that primal state or out of that overwhelmed state into accessing the higher, more logical, more rational parts of your brain. So that's the first thing. Overwhelm and uncertainty leads to anxiety, and anxiety leads to poor decision making, being reactive, rushing things, being snappy, etc., etc. The second thing I want to talk about is, in order to assist you, most people at the moment are addicted to the news. They're addicted to their screens, they're addicted to their phones, they're addicted to their news feed. And that's because everyone wants to know What's that new piece of advice that's coming out from the government? What's that new kind of thing that's about to happen? Such and such was going to go and announce this at 3 o'clock. I better tune in and watch that. What that's doing is meaning that you're constantly tuning in to negative media, because media love negativity. They very rarely focus on the positives or things that we can be doing that are actually functional and support us through this whole thing, because negative and hyped up media sell and gets people's attention. So if you're constantly tuning into media channels all day, what you're actually doing is you're ensuring that you're staying in that state, that primal state that I just spoke about. You're staying in that state of fight or flight and not sure what's going to happen, but I need to keep tuning in to keep finding out what's going to happen. It's like an addiction, and you need to keep feeding it. So the second thing I want to talk to you about today is set yourself limits. Once, at the max twice a day, tune into what's going on. Most of the time, all the news is just repeating the same stuff over and over. Tune in for half an hour a day to the news, find out what the new things are that are going on, and then close your phone, put that away, close your laptop, put it away, stop checking in with the news 800 times a day, because it's not serving you. It's keeping you in that lower state, and it's ensuring that you're stuck in those fearful-based energies or fearful-based emotions. So everyone's just talking about fear and terror at the moment. So what you need to do, or what I'm hoping that you do after watching this video, is recognize that you're doing that in terms of constantly tuning into fear and terror all the time, letting that go or limiting that, because you need to stay up to date with what's going on, but limiting that and actually choosing to move into a state of nurturing. So nurturing is the opposite of fear and terror. So moving into a state or a place of calm, quiet, and peace. So point 2, turn off the news, check in once, max twice a day, and then recognize when you are in that state of overwhelm and choose to do things to move you into a state of calm, peace, and relaxation. So thirdly, logic is really important at the moment. So moving into a state of logic, or even higher still, your own internal compass, your own internal intuition, will aid in good decisions at the moment. So really working to learn how to drop fear and move back into logic. So when we're in a fearful-based state, we've got adrenaline pumping through our system, whether we know it or not, and we're making poor decisions. We're making irrational, emotional-based decisions, and we're not making good, smart, logical decisions. So logic is important, recognizing when you're in that state of overwhelm and trying as much as you possibly can to drop that and move back into a state of calmness, a state of rational logic and thinking. So learn to notice your state, learn to notice what you're feeling, and learn to drop what's not serving you and learn to embrace what is. So there's 3 techniques that I want to work through with you now that'll help you drop those emotional based states and actually move back into that calm centered state, which is where you need to be for your business, for your team, and for your family at the moment. They need people, they need leaders who are connected to and acting out of a rational, strategic, logical based state, not fearful, emotional based states. So the first technique is breathing. So the thing that we have the most control over is our breath, and the way that we can actually use our breath, or a breathing technique that I'm actually going to take you through, will actually help quiet the mind, calm the nervous system, and help you move into a state of calmness. So it's called the 4-box breathing technique. Really simple to use if you're in meetings. Not that many of us are in meetings at the moment. If you're on the bus, not that many people are on the bus at the moment. Anywhere you are, you can adopt this breathing technique, and it will instantly, well, within a couple of minutes, ensure that your nervous system is calming down and you're moving into a more centered, rational, logical state. So it's called the 4-box breathing technique. And essentially what it is, really simple to do. In for a count of 4, hold for a count of 4, out for a count of 4, hold for a count of 4. So ran in a box. So in for 4, hold for 4, out for 4, hold for 4. Do this for a couple of minutes whenever you're feeling overwhelmed or anxious, or just feeling like you're not thinking strategically enough, and it'll help you calm your nervous system and center your body back into rational logic. The second technique is either meditation, which I love, or just sitting quietly. So finding time throughout the day, and many of us who are working from home at the moment have time in our day, or we have the opportunity. At the office, not as easy, but if we're all working from home at the moment, it's a really easy practice to incorporate into our day. So sitting for twice a day for 10 minutes is a really great way just to sit by yourself, put some awesome music on, just use that breathing technique that we just spoke about, and really use this time, 10 minutes or 20 minutes a day, just to calm your mind, calm your nervous system, bring yourself back into a centered state, bring yourself back into thinking from a logical place as opposed to an emotional place. So that's meditation or sitting quietly. Highly recommend the app called Insight Timer. I use it every day. I meditate every day. So the app called Insight Timer, download it. It's essentially, it makes this super easy. You can set a timer with some music. Little bell goes off at the end when your time's up, which is beautiful. There's hundreds of thousands of guided meditations that you can follow on a whole range of different topics. So the app called Insight Timer makes this really, really easy. Third technique is journaling or writing. Again, really simple, really basic stuff, but the more that you can put pen to paper, the more that you can write, the more that you can journal about just what's going on your day. You might choose to do it at the start of the day or at the end of the day, but just allowing yourself to get from out from what's in here onto paper. A lot of the time we have a lot of repetitive, cyclical, negative, fear-based thoughts. And so the more that we can capture that, recognize that we're stuck in a loop of repetitive thoughts, put it to paper, it actually gets us out of our head. So it declutters our mind and gets what we're thinking onto paper, and then we can come back and focus on what we need to get done. So they're the three techniques. Breathing, so the 4-box breathing technique: in for 4, hold for 4, out for 4, hold for 4. Meditation or sitting quietly, whatever works for you. Start with 5 minutes a day, build up from there. Again, we're working from home at the moment, or most of us are, so perfect opportunity to be doing this. And then just sitting quietly with yourself, journaling or writing, just really getting stuff out of your head onto pen or paper. And the final thing is that I want to talk about is all of this stuff is actually affecting your health, in terms of if you are adopting some of these techniques that we just spoke about, they're actually adding an immense benefit to your health. Because if we are stuck in stress, stuck in anxiety, or stuck in overwhelm, it actually leads to a buildup of neurochemicals in our system, which actually starts to drown or degrade our immune system. So the more stressed we are, the more anxious we are, the more overwhelmed we are, we're actually lowering our immune system's defenses, which is obviously not what we want in these times. So the more that you can do the work in terms of what I just spoke about, breathing, meditation, sitting, journaling, writing, anything you can do to calm your nervous system and get you in a more centered, logical, relaxed state is an amazing benefit to you actually really strengthening your immune system, and meaning that you're a lot more resilient for yourself, your team, and your family throughout this time. So, really overwhelming times, really crazy times. I'm going to be shooting a lot more long form videos like this, a lot more trainings like this that you can kind of tune into and watch and write and journal from, and take away training tips and those kinds of things. But really today we talked about how to deal with that overwhelm and uncertainty, and how to, as best as you can, drop yourself back into a more centered, rational, logical state. I just ran an online training where I talked to everyone on the online training about, all the stuff that I just spoke to you about. It's not far out hippy dippy stuff anymore. There's so much science and so many studies to back up the benefits of meditation, of these breathing techniques, and of journaling and writing, to help you with your mental health, to help you with your resilience, and to help getting you a calmer mind where you can think more strategically, think more logically, and be the leader that you need to be for the people around you at the moment. Love to hear your thoughts from the video. Have an amazing day and tune in for some more videos like this. Talk soon.